everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to Rocky Top Review, Mix 1041, Talk 1013 The Buzz, and MixTV.tv. Presented by CHI Memorial, Hello Human Kindness. We're joined today, of course, by Steven Shelton. Shelton, how are you?
I'm good. Doing a lot better today.
Well, we're going to tell you, if you're watching this on MixTV.tv, you see why. If you're listening on the radio, I'll tell you in a second. Reverend Jason Cox, how are you?
I'm well, sir. Thank you.
It is well with your soul. Something's missing.
Yeah, a lot more room in this. A lot more room in here today. I'm just going to say that.
Nobody's barking at us.
Yeah. I know. Oh, yeah. I know.
Nobody's barking.
You're all in one accord. Well, anyway, Josh Rogers is not with us this week, but we'll be back next week as we get ready. Hard to believe for the final regular season game of the year, and a lot to talk about. But today, and really tonight, kickoff 7 o'clock at South Carolina as SEC East rivals meet up as Tennessee travels to Columbia, South Carolina, college football Week 12 action. Now, despite the loss at Georgia a few weeks ago, Tennessee has everything to play for. It's, of course, not going to the SEC championship game, but still high enough in the rankings to make a jump into the college football playoff. The Gamecocks, on the other hand, have a mixed bag in Shane Beamer's second season. They did beat Texas A&M. They beat a ranked Kentucky team and Vanderbilt, but suffered costly losses to Missouri and then most recently a 32-point decision to Florida. We'll discuss all of this, plus the college football playoff picture and more on Rocky Top Review. Shelton, I want to begin with you. What's on your mind today?
A lot of points, a lot of yards. We have, record number of yards for Tennessee, record number of points for Tennessee football last week against Missouri. You've got the little bit of a controversy with calling the timeout there. But, if you're Missouri's coach, you got to go back to an interview you did with Jim Rome back in the summer of 2022, just a few months ago, where you were just in a general conversation. Then all of a sudden your record came up, and you said, well, I'll probably be getting a few more of those wins back once the NCAA gets finished with Tennessee. Well, Coach, no, you're not. And I think that's the reason we ran it up on them a little bit. Missouri played really well. I'm going to tell you, their quarterback is an outstanding athlete. We did a great job, I thought, in the second half of kind of bundling him up. I thought the secondary played a little bit better. The front seven still continues to play well. I thought we ran the ball great. Again, Jalen Hyatt, if he's not in New York sitting there, if Tennessee doesn't have two players sitting there talking about Heisman Trophy hopefuls, I don't understand how. Again, you had a huge week, Jason, from Brew McCoy. He really showed what kind of athlete he really is.
Yeah. Brew got in on the action, had over 100 yards, I think 7 or 8 receptions. Tennessee just absolutely laid the wood to them. And let's talk about everybody's favorite conversation on any college football team is the second string quarterback. Okay, let's talk about Bazooka Joe for a minute.
Ours is better than yours. Let me just say that now. Yeah.
I mean, he threw that ball in the it was the fourth quarter by then. He was flat-footed from the 35-yard line, and he threw it down to the other 5-yard line.
He threw it across from one hash to the corner. The metrics of that, the geometry of that. 67 yards flat-footed is what he tossed that football. Effortlessly. And the difference between this year and last year, as we look forward to next year, not too fast, but if Milton can be able to make those types of throws with people like Squirrel running down the sidelines, Tennessee's offense looks to be stacked and ready to go for the 2023 season.
Yeah, and the young freshman came out in the third quarter running hard.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked dynamic. He's been in the doghouse after getting Hendon Hooker blown up in a game in the LSU game.
Absolutely.
He missed a backside block, got Hendon destroyed. Glad he didn't get hurt. And but he came out ready to play this week. And it was just a dismantling of that Missouri team in the second half. And I suspect that's what will happen this week as well.
Shelton, what else?
Well, I mean, I think that as Tennessee fans look at this regular season, the first time Tennessee's been undefeated at home since 1998. You cannot ask more than what this team has done. You cannot ask more from what this coaching staff. You may not like the defense. You may not like some of the things they do, but here's what they do is they win.
Just win, baby.
And so at the end of the day, they get paid to win. They don't get paid to win pretty or ugly. They get paid to win.
Coming into the season, I think we all would have said this is probably an 8-win team. Some people are saying maybe 9. Maybe we can get to 9. And we're playing for our 10th win this weekend. And there's one more. There's a Vanderbilt game left to go on top of that. I mean, I just, yeah, we lost to Georgia. That stinks. But, man, every Tennessee fan should be just thrilled with the way this season's gone. And there's even some on the message boards or whatever, there's murmurs out there, it's a disappointment because we got beat by Georgia. No, this has been a fantastic season. As much as I like to kind of talk about Bazooka Joe Milton, man, let's enjoy this season because it has been awesome, and it's something we'll talk about probably maybe the rest of our lives, just the turnaround in general.
Well, I think that anything in life, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, whatever it is, you've got to set a baseline there of what your expectations are. And once those expectations are met, you've become successful in that. And so, again, anytime you go above and beyond that, there can't be disappointment. A 10-2 season couldn't have been disappointing. 11-1 can't be disappointing. Not making it to college football playoffs can't be disappointing. No. Going to the Sugar Bowl can't be disappointing. As Tennessee fans, we need to take a kind of a reality check and say, where did we come from and how long did it take him to get us here? And it was a very quick time period. So, listen, I'm thankful for all they've done up there. It's so much more exciting to go to Neyland Stadium again. It reminds me of back when we were in our 20s or before, when it was so fun to go watch Tennessee play football. And I think with the people they have up there right now, and again, next year may be 8-4, but I think with Danny White in place, with Coach Heupel in place, with the recruits he's bringing in, with the coaching staff, with the way he does things, I just think this could be a long-term deal that really, really puts Tennessee back in that year after year after year conversation of, hey, they could be really good.
I mean, it's more exciting to do this show even. I mean, show up at church wearing Tennessee stuff. I mean, it's just more exciting now. And we had a long lull there where, it was just hard to be a Tennessee fan. I mean, our kids have never seen Tennessee be good. There's so many kids out there walking around wearing Alabama stuff and Georgia stuff because they're the hot team the past few years. Now they're starting to wear the Tennessee stuff again. It's just fun to be a Tennessee fan once again.
All right, you are listening and watching Rocky Top Review, Mix 104.1 and MixTV.tv, presented by CHI Memorial. Hello, Human Kindness. Hey, don't forget CHI Memorial, where they can take care of you 7 days a week. Public Shopping Center, Polo Parkway in Cleveland. And we'll come back with more and talk about the playoff race because it's getting really interesting. We'll talk about that next. Welcome back, everybody. Mix 104.1 and MixTV.tv. It's Rocky Top Review presented by CHI Memorial. Don't forget, we're counting down to kickoff. UT will be at South Carolina, 7 o'clock kickoff on Mix 104.1 and Talk 101.3 The Buzz, presented by the Tennessee Valley Federal Credit Union. All right, time to get in our pick segment. And Shelton, it's all about the playoffs. I want to begin with you because we've got interesting game here. USC at UCLA. It's an 8 o'clock game tonight at the Granddaddy Bowl, the Rose Bowl in Pasadena.
Yeah, 10 years ago, this game was going to be played, and a lot of the eyes of the world will be on it. Now, today, you look at it, and nobody cares. Even though this has an impact on possibly, a one loss USC team winning the Pac-12, they have a chance to slide into that fourth spot, depending on TCU loses. Now that Oregon's lost. There's a lot of things there that's going on.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you think them going to the Pac-10 has anything to do with the reduction in interest out there?
I think so. Yeah, I really do. They're calling this a sellout. There's 88,000 seats, almost 89,000 seats in the Rose Bowl. They've sold 71,000 tickets, and everywhere that you read out on the West Coast, it's a sellout. I don't know what the math is out there, and I know they count votes differently in Arizona and California, but at the end of the day, 71,000 seats sold, 88,000 can get in there, and it's a sellout.
And there will not be 71,000.
There'll be 60,000 there.
If that.
Even when Neyland Stadium sells out, I've only been there a few times, that you still see a few empty seats. I know they're sold technically, but. Yeah, it'll look like a JV game out there in the Rose Bowl. Unfortunately, because one of the greatest places to watch a game in the country.
I don't know of any better.
I think UCLA, though, I think they've played really well. I think they've got just enough at home at night in the Rose Bowl to spoil the Trojan season.
Oh, hello.
This one's important. Here's what I think they're doing. I think the playoff committee is setting USC up as the number 7 seed in their playoff committee rankings to make a run at that 4th spot.
Absolutely.
I think that's. I don't think it's going to be LSU. I think they're expecting Georgia to wipe the floor with them in the SEC championship game, and then it's going to come down. I've got my eye on this game, and then next week the Michigan-Ohio State game. My worry there is that the loser won't drop out of that. So I think as a Tennessee fan, those are my 2 thoughts, is that the national media is putting USC in a place they could vault Tennessee, and the Michigan-Ohio State game. We're going to be watching that to see what happens with the loser.
Can't wait till we get to those. I know we're getting to those. I've got a lot to say about that, but no, I can't wait. But I agree. They need someone from west of Texas to finally make it to the college football playoff, and they're longing for this. Oregon was going to be that team. They're not. USC now is that team. I don't think they are, but if they do win this game, they do win the Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever it's called now. If they do win that, a one-loss team out there is going to be awful hard to keep out of that top 4.
And I think the reason I think that so much is because of how they were hyping Oregon last week.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it was crazy, the amount of love. People were saying, well, that loss to Georgia that they had and the loss Tennessee had to Georgia was about equal.
Yep.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't even close.
Not even close. Yeah.
And yet that's what they're doing, and they're going to push that narrative. But I don't think it matters because I agree with him. UCLA gets this win in the Rose Bowl.
I hope the Bruins do it. How'd they lose to Arizona? Did you catch any of that?
I'm in bed by the time they play.
Well, I was too. I didn't see any of it. All right, another big game here. Number 4 in the college football playoff rankings this week. TCU, Texas Christian, will be at Baylor. They'll play this in Waco. That's a noon game. So honestly, as you're hearing us, we're taping this on Thursday. This game is probably over, Jason. But what do you make of it? TCU at Baylor.
I don't think TCU is going to lose. I think they will be a playoff team. Sonny Dykes is your next big time hire. When the season's over, probably when the playoffs are over, Sonny Dykes is going to end up at a huge program because, man, he's doing great things at TCU. He was a hot name last year. He stayed at TCU, and so I think TCU beats up on Baylor pretty well.
I think Dykes ends up at either Auburn or Ole Miss, depending on what Lane Kiffin does. I think he's got a really good shot of one of those jobs. I don't think he would go to Kentucky. I think Stoops leaves for Iowa after the end of the season, especially after the loss to Vanderbilt. But I digress. I think that the Horned Frogs are way too good for Baylor this year. Baylor just doesn't have the offense they've had in years past. However, I'll say this: I think K-State has just enough to upset TCU in that championship game. I really do. I think TCU still has one loss in them. If not, they're automatically in. But as a Tennessee fan, you have to be pulling for whoever TCU is playing from here on out.
Yeah, absolutely right. All right, let's move on now and go to the ACC. Miami at number 9, Clemson. This will be, again, at Clemson. This also, as you're listening here, this game is already underway. It kicked off at 3:30 earlier today, Shelton.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Clemson, 9-1. They're the worst 9-1 team in the country. I mean, without question. They have played an awful schedule. They have slipped by more teams. I think they do a great job over there. I just think they're not a playoff team this year. Even if they win the ACC, I think the ACC is so watered down this year. And the ACC's got to do one thing. Moving forward, either you get Notre Dame into your conference or stop playing them because they're wrecking your conference. You can't have them play multiple teams in your conference and all of a sudden inside your conference and make it almost like they're part of your conference, only to have them make things very difficult for your teams that are actually part of your conference to move forward. So, but I think Clemson wins this game. I think they win the ACC, but I think they get left out of the playoff picture.
Wow, what about it, Jason?
Yeah, Clemson wins this game. I want to go back to something Shelton said a minute ago. Did you say that Vanderbilt beat Kentucky? Did I hear that right?
Absolutely. I didn't want to say.
Lee
McChesney and I went.
Let's say it
Lee
again.
Lee McChesney and I went to lunch Tuesday just to discuss it. And,
wow. Man,
just
how was
it was
that?
not good for him. But all I can say is this: Kentucky keeps talking about basketball season. I'm going to revert back to November when you got beat by Vanderbilt. That's
Yeah.
over 1,000 days since Vanderbilt last won an SEC game.
Wow.
And Will Levis is a top what pick?
Oh, he's
Top
going to be
hello.
third quarterback taken overall. By the way,
What in the
a
world?
little trivia here. Will Levis was 10 of 11 for 109 yards. Joe Milton on 3 passes, 111 yards, threw for more yards than Will Levis did. Go
It
Wildcats.
should have been 2 touchdowns.
And it should have been 2 touchdowns. Go Wildcats.
Bazooka Joe.
All right. Did we get a pick from you? I guess you said Clemson. All right. Illinois. We'll pick one more, and then we'll take a break. Illinois at number 3 Michigan. This would seem to be a tune-up game for what they call up there the game. This is, again, probably long over or close to being over by now as we tape this. But anyway, noon. That was a noon game in Ann Arbor, Jason. Illinois, number 3 Michigan.
Yeah, that Michigan rushing game is insane. They're really, really good at running the football, and in that kind of smash mouth football, I don't think a team like Illinois can line up and over 4 quarters compete with that. So I've got Michigan probably by 3 touchdowns.
I'm not so sure. Michigan has the 82nd strongest strength of schedule in the nation. 82nd, by the way. Their opponents that they've played this year, Tennessee's opponents are 50-31. LSU's are 50-31. Georgia's are 48-33. TCU's 41-40. Michigan's 38-45.
Huh.
They've played the worst schedule in the country, bar none.
Whoa.
They will play 2 teams this year. One of them will be the end of the year where I think they get smoked by the Buckeyes, and they will be an afterthought to get in the college football playoff.
Wow. There we go.
They have played a terrible schedule. I think Illinois is going to make this one interesting for a while. I think Michigan finally wins this game in the end, but don't sleep on the Fighting Illini just yet, because at 7-3, they've actually played a little bit better schedule than Michigan has.
Okay, with that, we'll take a break here and come back with a final segment. It's Rocky Top Review, Mix 1041 and MixTV.tv, presented by CHI Memorial. And we're getting ready for a 7 o'clock kick. Tennessee at South Carolina, Mix 1041 and Talk 1013 The Buzz, presented by TVFCU. And don't forget also, we stream that worldwide through the Mix 1041 app. Free download mymix1041.com. Back in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. It's Rocky Top Review, presented by CHI Memorial on Mix 1041. And you can watch it, if it wasn't bad enough to listen to it, MixTV.tv. Thanks to CHI Memorial. And our final picks, Ohio State, the other half of the game, as they call it, next weekend. Number 2, Ohio State at Maryland, Sheldon. That was a 3:30 start in College Park.
I hope they've won this game for what I'm about to say. I think Ohio State's one of the top 2 teams in the nation. I think they and Georgia are the best 2 teams in the nation. Now, you have to play to be the best team in the nation, but I just think the Buckeyes are solid all the way around in all facets, 3 facets of the game. I really think that they run through Maryland today. It's not even going to be close. But I'll say this. I think Ohio State, the thing that scares me about the Michigan-Ohio State game is you can't have a 28-24 victory, because then I think what your fear is, then all of a sudden both of them may slide in. Yeah. I still think Michigan is nowhere near as good as Ohio State.
You think there's a way, and I had this conversation with a Michigan fan, Mike Schalk, actually at White Wing earlier as we taped this on Thursday. So you think there is a way the loser of that game stays in the top 4?
I believe if TCU wins out and Ohio State beats Michigan, or Michigan beats Ohio State the same way Tennessee beat Alabama with a field goal with no time left, basically, or in overtime, I think they both get in. I don't know how you don't put them both.
That's the Tennessee nightmare.
Yeah, that's the nightmare there. It is.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're watching with TCU, hoping maybe they get beat. keeping an eye on USC. I think the worry is that, I mean, there's a lot of viewers, of television viewers up in that upper northeast corner. I mean, just like out on the left coast with the USC. I mean, there's a lot of people watching, and if they don't have a team represented, or if they have multiple teams represented, then that matters in that playoff committee's mind.
And I think there's a bunch of people that would love the opportunity to keep the SEC from having two teams as they traditionally do. If the Big Ten could put two teams in, they'll do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Let's get a pick here from you, Jason.
I'm going to take Ohio State in this one. I don't think Maryland's got anything to go up against them with.
Let's get through this a little bit quickly here. We're running out of time. Number 1, Georgia at Kentucky. Let's start with Jason Cox.
Hey, I mean, Kentucky's got Will Levis, right?
Hey!
Oh, gosh.
Georgia by 40.
I'm a bigger Georgia fan than the guy we're missing this week. I need Georgia to win out and win big. Go Bulldogs. What is this? What have we
My
got
staff presented me with. If you're listening on the radio, you can't see. Shelton, what do you describe here?
It's a target on your face. It looks like your senior superlative photo.
Yeah.
But other than that,
This is my senior picture. Actually.
But I don't understand what's going on. But I like what
Ashley
we're doing.
RFRV presented me with it.
Okay.
Final game. It's Tennessee, South Carolina. 9-1, the Volunteers. Number 5 in that poll that they released in the middle of the Champions Classic Tuesday night on ESPN. Anyway, Tennessee at South Carolina, 7 o'clock kickoff right here, Mix 104.1 and Talk 101.3 The Buzz, right, Reverend Jason Cox.
I think it matters. It's at South Carolina. It's at night. Those people have been beat up pretty good this year, but I think they'll be there. I think they'll be loud, and they'll be cheering their team on. So for the first half, it could be competitive, but here's the thing. South Carolina doesn't score the football very well. They're not very effective. They're not very efficient with it, and we do. And so they might keep it close for a half, but I see Tennessee winning this by 28 points and running away in the fourth quarter. Maybe we get to see Joe again.
Shelton, we'll give
I
it the
hate
final
South
word.
Carolina. I hate their fans. I hate the Gamecocks. I hate everything about them.
What about Shane Beamer?
I hate Shane Beamer. I hate Beamer Ball. I hate those stupid glasses. I hate all the stupid hype. He's Butch Jones.
what is wrong with
He's
you?
Butch Jones light.
Yes.
He's the 2020 versions of Butch Jones, basically.
Really?
Yeah, he is a pretender that rode his daddy's coattails to this job.
Good
He'll be
Lord.
gone by the end of next season.
Man.
There's no chance. This thing it's a train wreck. I hope Tennessee goes there and hangs 100 on them. But I will say this: if there's one place that's scary at night outside of LSU and places like that, South Carolina is not an easy place to play at nighttime. And they bump this thing to 7 o'clock. It's going to be cold. It's going to be loud. They're going to be excited because they can bump off Tennessee, a team that whether it's they hate Clemson and then they hate Tennessee. And the feeling's mutual. I hope Tennessee goes there and has a good showing. We cannot have a hiccup the last 2 games. We have to put some points on the board. We have to have, unfortunately, some show points, as a lot of people call them. But I think Tennessee goes over and gets it done. I think we score at least 48, 28-27.
48-20. You sound like you're talking about James Franklin or Ohio State.
No, that's a different level. James Franklin's like a level by himself.
The hatred in your heart.
Yeah, that's
Ivy League game of the week. Here we go. This is the gold standard. Yale and Harvard, which both dropped out of the U.S. News and World Report rankings. As far as I say, they're not participating anymore.
Oh.
I just want one answer. Yale, Harvard, Jason Cox.
Harvard.
Shelton.
Yale, because DeSantis went there.
And did Shelton say the future? And I will say Harvard for Dr. Paul Kahn. All right, that's it. Rocky Top Review. Hey, join us again next week when it's the final game of the regular season. So much more to go here, folks. Did we miss Rogers? Good night, everybody.